Once upon a time, a long time ago, I was a freshman in high school. Now, what was unique about my freshman experience is that we had all of our morning assemblies in the cafeteria. Now, they said that was because of overcrowding, but I also think it was to reinforce the feeling of being a lowly freshman, the lowest of the low on the high school totem pole. Well, that led to the most memorable morning assembly that I ever experienced in my entire high school career. I remember coming in that fateful morning and taking my usual spot on one of the lunchroom tables and looking up to see who the guest speaker was. And it was none other than the vice principal. My heart skipped a beat. Based on the stories I've heard about him, this was a bitter man. Life had passed him by. He had missed his chance to have the job of his dreams, to be an officer in the Gestapo. Now, he had been invited to come and speak to us about the school dress code and other rules and regulations designed to prevent the end of civilization as we know it. And he did just that. And listening to him was just about as interesting as watching paint dry. So my mind wandered, and I started reading the lunch menu on the wall behind him. Meatloaf, fish sticks, S-H-I-T. Wait, what? S-H-I-T. What a brilliant act of vandalism! Why did I think of that? And what wonderful irony. Here was the vice principal lecturing us on the vital importance of obeying all of these rules and regulations. And on the wall behind him was this perfectly executed act of lawlessness. Well, gradually, the whole room around me began to buzz. I wasn't the only one who saw it. People started to snicker. One person pointed, and then the vice principal stopped speaking. And he followed with his eyes to where the person pointed and turned around to look at the lunch menu, and then he saw it. His whole body stiffened. And then he turned back to look at us. With the strangest expression on his face, the only way I could describe it, it was this mixture of fury and delight, as if we had just made his day. He now had a crime to prosecute. So then he turns to us and says, "Who did that?" Well, that was truly a dumb question. Did he really think someone was going to say, "Yeah, it was me, I did it"? Then he said to us something that got our attention big time. He said, "We have ways of finding out." And he turned his back and walked out of the cafeteria. That, my friends, was truly a scary moment. What ways? One could simply imagine him going back to his office, pulling a book off the shelf, and reading about the techniques used by the Gestapo to extract information. Well, for the next 4 morning assemblies, 1, 2, 3, 4, he came in and berated us. He told us we should be ashamed of ourselves. He told us we had demoralized the entire cafeteria staff, that we were guilty of aiding and abetting a criminal, that we had gone down a road that would bring about the end of civilization as we know it. Now, the vice principal pulled out all the stops to blow the lid off the conspiracy behind the rearrangement of the lunch menu letters. And he failed. Completely. The outlaw was never caught. And maybe it's because he believed it was a result of a conspiracy. He might have been better off if he'd gone with the lone vandal theory. Anyway, one of the lunch workers bought a tiny padlock, installed it on the glass door outside the lunch menu, so that act of vandalism never happened again. And I'm still waiting for the end of civilization as we know it. The end.